What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for our very first episode of a new group build that we are going to be entering into. This is for the Facebook group called the Group Build Group, and this is actually for the Recon group build. Now, I've actually been wanting to build something here Recon related for a while now. Picked up this kit back in 2015, so this should be fun. I'm very excited to go ahead and try it out. This is going to be the Kitty Hawk 1/48 scale F9F-8P Cougar. Now, this kit actually comes with both the gun version and the photo reconnaissance version, and we are going to go ahead and try to build the photo reconnaissance 1/48 scale. I'm not sure really about Kitty Hawk. I built their FJ2 Fury before, and there were a couple of fit issues and some discrepancies here and there with parts. And I don't know. Kitty Hawk kind of has a mixed bag. A lot of people say they don't like their kits, and I've only had one experience with them and it was okay, so I'm not really sure how this one's going to build. I've heard of a couple of issues such as plastic didn't work with Tamiya extra thin, though I don't know if that's true. We'll have to see when we start getting into it, but if that is the case, I do have other types of glue I can use, so I'm not really too concerned about that. Go ahead and crack into the box though and check out what's inside. So first thing we are greeted with is a very, very nice instruction manual. One of the things I will say about Kitty Hawk is they always give you a lot of parts and they tend to give you really nice instructions. So put that aside, we also have quite a few poly bags and each one of these poly bags has 2 sprues in it. We're going to have to go ahead and check out the parts in a bit more detail. Kitty Hawk also loves to give you a giant sheet of decals, and in this case we also get some photo etch, and that's kind of neat, to be honest. I'm not really too familiar with Kitty Hawk's photo etch. I haven't really used much of it, but I do hear that that's kind of a standard for them. They love to give you photo etch, and right here we have some wing fences, some wing spoilers. We've got a couple different instrument panels, so get you a close-up here so we can take a look at it. We can see here in the close-up, these are the sides of the cockpit. So we have our dials and switches. We do have seat belts, which is really, really nice. And we have, of course, instrument panels and all that good stuff. We are given decals, though, for the instrument panel and for the side consoles. And I'm not really sure how that's going to go. We might have to do a little bit of coaxing, maybe throw some microsol on it. We'll have to see. But otherwise, they look pretty decent. It looks like they have some nice detail. Now, as I mentioned before, Kitty Hawk always gives you really nice looking instructions, and this one is really no different. We've got a glossy cover, we have all the parts and pieces broken down in a nice orderly fashion, and then we have full fold-out color profiles of the aircraft that you can build. And this is actually the one that I was initially planning on building, back when I first bought this kit in 2015. But since this is a Recon group build, we're going to go ahead and forego the gun version and move on to the photo version. Now, on the inside, we are given lots of different parts and pieces and options as well. You can see we have 2 different ejection seats. I'm pretty sure we use the top one for most of the Cougar line, but one thing I am noticing, Kitty Hawk likes to go ahead and give you lots of options, which is great, but in this case, they're not really telling you which version gets which parts. So we're going to have to do quite a bit of research to figure out what's going where to make sure we have the right version. Moving on, we've got, of course, our landing gears and we've got our air brakes, and I'm actually considering folding the air brakes in so that they aren't deployed. A lot of pictures I've seen, references and whatnot, they don't show them to be deployed. Usually they're folded up, tucked inside. So I might have to go ahead and change that. Now, of course, for the nose, we have 2 different versions. We have the gun version here, and then we have the photo reconnaissance version here. And on the other side, where we have a ton of cameras, and I'm assuming some form of electronics, I'm not sure what these parts are, but a very detailed front nose cone. And that's going to be kind of fun, to be honest. Lots of detail, including even the front mounted cameras. Then we attach everything together and then we build up the nose around it. This is right here though, where we put on the side doors. I'm kind of curious as to whether or not we could actually pose this open. There's a lot of detail in there and be ashamed to waste it just by closing everything up. So maybe if I'm feeling adventurous, I might actually try to scratch build some detail and keep that open. Might be kind of fun. But moving on, of course, we go ahead and put the nose cones together. We get the wing fold mechanisms. This does have a wing fold mechanism, so we could actually deploy the wings down or folded. I'm probably going to go ahead and deploy them down because I actually built the FJ2 Fury with folded wings, so a little change of pace. Moving right along, we have, of course, landing gears and the doors and all the struts and whatnot. We do have only the tail cone. We don't have any sort of like full engine, which is okay, honestly. You're not really going to see much in there. And then we start kind of getting all the little parts and pieces attached like the wings in either a folded or deployed position, then finally the nose onto the rest of the fuselage. And that's kind of where I feel we're going to have the most problem. This here is going to be a major seam issue, at least I have a feeling, because the modular nature of these Kitty Hawk kits, they usually lend themselves nicely to panel line issues and then mislining parts and whatnot. So this right here could be a very difficult area to go ahead and fix. Worst case scenario, we have a little bit more work to do in terms of sanding. Now on the other page, we have actually the cockpit canopy. We can actually have it open or closed. Probably going to go ahead and open it. And then we get down to the wings. Now this here is the photo reconnaissance version, but it tells me that I need to go ahead and place 2 extra pylons under the wings. First and foremost, I'm pretty sure that the very inner hardpoint, that's actually for drop tanks and whatnot. So I think that's okay, but the other 2 outer ones would be for weapons. Pretty sure the photo reconnaissance wouldn't be carrying weapons. So I might need to go ahead and blank them off and remove them. Now we get over to our color profiles, and this here is the version I'd like to go ahead and build. Very typical gold gray over white. I like the look of that, so that's probably where I'm going to start. And as you can see here, the gun versions look pretty neat. Starting off here with an overall glossy dark sea blue with red trim, which is really, really striking. And then we have the Blue Angel aircraft as well, though I don't think that would have been carrying guns, so those might have to be deleted. But this is the one I'm going to go ahead and focus on, and this looks to be a pretty fun little scheme to do. Basically, very nice looking colorful markings. We've got the red refueling probe. We have a lot of the little flashes in the wing strips. And it's a very typical early Cold War scheme. The one thing curious here, we actually don't show any splitter plates there for the intake. I'm pretty sure that the gun versions wouldn't have intake splitters, but the photo reconnaissance version would. So they don't show it here. I'm assuming it's going to be in the kit parts. You never know. And finally, the other photo reconnaissance version looks actually very cool, but I don't really want to have to fool around with trying to airbrush and paint the red around the national marking. That would be a little bit more troublesome. Things are going to be challenging anyway because it's a Kitty Hawk kit, so I might as well just make it a little bit easier on myself. Now, Kitty Hawk does give you a lot of parts. And as you can see here from one of the close-ups, these are the different parts for the internal there on the nose. So we have all the different cameras, we have the different banks of electronics. The plastic looks good. We have finely detailed recessed panel lines, as well as a little bit of rivet detail here and there. Very smooth plastic, and I don't notice much flash or issues with the different parts. We do have a few ejector pin marks, as you can see right here on the floor, I believe, for the photo reconnaissance. Not much detail other than that, though, to be honest, and there's no detail on the inside of those doors whatsoever, so if we're going to go ahead and post these open, we're going to have to go ahead and scratch build some details. Well, the wings, as you can see here, we have molded in openings for all 3 of the wing pylons. Everything else looks very smooth, very crisp, very neat. I'm pretty sure the photo reconnaissance wouldn't be carrying 2 extra pylons per wing, so those are going to have to probably be blanked off, sanded down, and then rescribed. Now the inner pylons though, those we're going to go ahead and keep because those would be carrying the fuel tanks. And we might actually throw the fuel tanks on here. Top side of the wing, also same story, very nicely molded details. We do have an indentation for the wing fence as well as the spoilers, so that's good. I think more or less we have a very nice looking molded kit here. Now, of course, if you've been following the channel for any length of time, you know I really enjoy not only scratch building, but references. For this case, I went out and I picked up the Grumman F9F-6P/8P Photo Cougar book. As you can see, a very nice looking book, and if you flip this over, we can see here, this is the actual aircraft that I want to build. And if we go ahead and compare this picture right here to our instruction manual, you can see they actually did a pretty decent job of research. So just a side-by-side comparison, things are more or less in the correct color, and pretty close in size, to be honest. So I think they did a really good job in going ahead and giving us something that represents the actual aircraft fairly decently. It's got some very nice high quality glossy pages. It's got a lot of neat interesting text plus a lot of exterior shots that's going to show us wear and tear on the aircraft, but it also gives us a really nice detailed look at the front nose of all the cameras. And like I mentioned before, I might want to go ahead and see if I can't open up one of these side doors to go ahead and expose all that really neat detail, because otherwise you're not going to see any of it. And then we can go ahead and use this for adding in extra support detail or any sort of missing wires or parts in the inside that we just don't see. This is going to help us immensely. The rest of the book proceeds along a normal path of most of these reference books. We've got interior cockpit detail, we've got pictures and callouts of what each button does. Then we go through different placards and we go through operation here, in this case, of the different cameras at daytime or nighttime use. And of course, we have all the units that went ahead and fielded the F9F-8P Cougar. I think this is going to be a really nice book, not only to have just in the stash that I can just pick up and read if I'm in the mood, but I can also use this as a really great reference for the Photo Cougar. And just because the rules state so, here we go. It is now Saturday, January 2nd when I'm making this video. Probably not when I'm releasing it, but at least when I'm making it. We are ready to go ahead and jump into the F9F-8P Cougar for the Recon group build. I'm looking forward to this build. I'm actually very excited to go ahead and see if this kit goes together and see how it looks in my display case. So until our next episode, you guys know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. Make sure to go ahead and check out Rob Basic Modeling. He's actually hosting this group build and kind of moderating the build. So make sure to go check out his channel, link in the description below. channel, and we'll see you back here on episode number 2 for the Recon group build and the Photo Cougar. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.